In Australia, gambling is a popular pastime that has a wide variety of people caught in its trap. From sports bettors to pokie players, it is often at the forefront of society due to its addictive nature. Mobile ads and intense advertising during sports games plague the sporting world, and the flashing lights and sounds lure people into casinos. On the surface, gambling seems shiny and sleek, but has a number of worrisome side effects. Being enticed by the idea of a quick win, many find themselves trapped in a vicious cycle leading to a financial ruin.
So there are other kinds of gambling where people are more likely to experience harm, and a really obvious example of that is the pokies with the lights and the flashing noises, and it's difficult for people once they're playing to get up and leave their seat. They're scared someone will get there and take the winnings. Whereas the online sports betting is very often young men who are interested in sport. There was an uptick in sports betting over the COVID lockdowns because there was a period of time when the venues were closed and sports betting was something that was still possible to do. And as I said before, the sports betting is particularly difficult to manage. It's something that can be done in such privacy, like in people's rooms with nobody knowing. And all of the technology is set up in such a way so that you link your card to it. And that means that you can keep drawing down on that card, so you don't even need to go out and get more money.
Sports bets, bet with mates.
Look, it really depends on people, and I think if you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're on a huge income, and you go out and spend $1,000, that might not matter very much. That might be okay for you. But if you're someone who's on a government benefit and you go out and lose $15, that might actually be the money that was saved up for your kids' dinner. The impacts of gambling can range from quite mild to really quite catastrophic in terms of people losing their homes.
It is, however, crucial to acknowledge the fact that not everybody falls victim to gambling. Some people find genuine enjoyment in the activity when in moderation, acting as a source of excitement as opposed to being a victim of its addictive nature.
I think it's important to acknowledge that some people really enjoy gambling. Yeah, it can be really good social outlet for people. Sometimes it's really reasonably cheap and a fun kind of cognitive exercise that you keep marking stuff off. So there can be good things about gambling. Some people enjoy going and having a press a few times on the EGM, and it's not going to have adverse effects on their lives. That seems absolutely fine to me, but unfortunately we know that many people do get into trouble.
So there's quite a variety of apps online, but I only tend to gamble on the main ones. It's quite hard to win, but it's obviously fun, and you get a lot of enjoyment from watching the sport that you place the bet on. But obviously when you lose, you kind of have this feeling in your, like, you want to put another bet on.
But for those who do suffer from the darker side of gambling, there are organisations that offer support. Education and awareness programs and helplines are in place to aid people in overcoming their addictions. There's calls for stricter regulations on advertisement of gambling that will potentially deter any newcomers from starting up to begin with.
The really obvious solution in relation to gambling is that governments need to regulate it. So there needs to be limits on how much you're allowed to spend at any gambling venue. The responsible gambling needs to be kind of very actively regulated and enforced. So people need to walk around and say, hey, you've been on that machine now for 2 hours, you need a break, you need to stop. The best way to manage the harms from gambling is to reduce the availability of all of these things. Now that's quite complicated with the sports betting because people are doing it online, but it's really important that the Australian government work to make sure that these products are as safe as possible and to limit how much people can play on them before they get kind of chucked out.
If you know you can, I don't know, let's say place $10 a week and not go overboard. So if you have like a mindset that, oh, I'm only going to place $10 this week and then keep following that every week, then I think it's just for fun. But if you're continuously doing it, then it becomes a problem.
Alyssa, Sayboualay, Trobe, Live.